Hey there, welcome to episode number 11 of Tribe. In this episode, I'll be talking to my friend Axel Boomin. As you can tell, Axel is a music producer. He's a young kid who has worked with many successful artists in the music industry and has been able to see the ups and downs they can bring. I believe that this episode is a great one for those that are trying to get in the music industry or already are in the music industry. You can learn a lot from him. But above all, you can learn that connection is everything. That's what Tribe is about. Therefore, I want to welcome you to episode 11 of Tribe with my friend Axel Boomin. Enjoy.
What's good, guys?
How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you, man?
We're great. Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. I'm good. I'm glad to be here, man.
You look like a hip-hop star, bro.
Hey, man. Having some eye issues right now, so I got some glasses, but that's for another day. So that's why I got sunglasses on right now. But
it's cool, though. It looks fire.
It does, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I love the green with the black.
These are my go-to glasses right here. You know, I had to throw on I had to throw in some color just because I knew that, I've seen your podcast. So obviously, I know you have like black backdrops and things like that. So I was like, if I don't bring in some color and I just come in with one shade or whatever, then, it's probably going to be a little off. So I had to come in with a little bit of color, but yeah.
So, bro, introduce yourself, man.
So, yeah, man. For those who've seen me, for those who haven't, if you've never seen me before, my name is Axel. I go by Axel Boomin. I'm a music producer, audio engineer. I've been in the game for a minute. I've been, producing music for like about 6-7 years now. So, yeah. So that's a little bit about me. How old are you, bro? I'm actually, take a guess, man. I'll give you a guess. I'm pretty young, so I'm not that young, but I'm not that old.
Do you go clubbing?
Yes.
Okay, so you're 21. I'm gonna say you're...
Yeah, right on. I'm actually... Yeah. I just turned 21 last year. I turned 22 this year, actually July of this year. So.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm young, man. But
so 6-7 years you've been producing and mixing?
Yeah, I've been doing it since high school. I started producing first, and then I got into mixing. After, I was producing, I went to school for audio engineering as well. I got my diploma in that. So I have a diploma in audio engineering, and yeah.
Damn. What got you started in that, bro?
That's a great question. What got me into, and it's a funny story. I remember, I was in high school at the time, and, I was always into music. I was always playing instruments. I've always been around people that have been into music. My closest friend, me and him make music right now. I mentioned to you before, the one that I'm working on with this Christian album right now, because I'm working on the album, some Christian album.
Okay, so tell me more about that album.
So it's actually a new thing. It's a new genre that I've never, new thing that I've never got into. So the friend that I told you about that I'm working on this album with, he's a Christian artist. That's pretty much a crazy turnaround, to be honest, because he was doing music for the world, doing, regular rap music and all that. And, he was able to turn his life around and become a full-time Christian artist. So now we're working on an album. So that's a backtrack, but to go a little bit back, I started making beats and I started, getting into all this stuff because of him. He was actually into marching band first. He introduced me to marching band. I got into marching band, and as I was getting into marching band, there's a funny story. He quit marching band to run track, and as I was getting into marching band, I was in there for probably it was during the school year, so I was probably in there for 5 years, maybe less. I got bored of being in marching band, and then I decided to start making music and producing music or whatever. And at the time, our school had, I don't know if they still do, but our high school had how these high schools have all these tech things, photography, music production class, all this. So I was able to get into the music production class, and I was really the only one there that was actually taking it serious. People were just there for to get a grade. I was actually in there to learn, the basics of music production, and I was actually in there actually making beats at the time. My beats probably were not that good because I was starting, but I was actually I had the plan. I just had to I just had to go on with it. So I started making beats, and the rest was history. The reason why the way actually
the rest was history, bro.
It was because I'm still doing it to this day, and I've progressed a lot. And actually, one of the reasons why I go by Axel Boomin is because I didn't have a producer name at the time, but one of my good friends, he was walking the hallways, and he knew, he was in that class with me. He knew that I was making beats and all that. And every time I would walk through the hallways or whatever, he would always mention like, "Oh my God, it's Axel Boomin," and whatever, like, you know, because there's a very popular producer. I'm pretty sure you know his name is Metro Boomin. He's a, and I kind of like, you know, look up to him, and you know
Yeah.
he's a very great producer. So they just kind of gave me that name. I was always in high school, you know, and then they would always just say, "Oh, Axel Boomin, Axel Boomin." So that name just stuck, and I just stood with that name. So that's how I got that name. So
That's amazing. I love it. It fits really well, bro.
yeah,
Axel Boomin.
yeah,
It flows.
It has a nice ring to it, right?
It does. It does.
It has a nice ring to it, and now people address me, either they'll be like Axel Boomin, or they'll just call me by Boomin. Like people be like, "Yo, what's good, Boomin?" And I'm like, "What's up?" Like, yeah, but it's pretty dope though.
You talked about how you began pretty much your music career.
Yeah.
However, before high school, did you have an interest in music?
So, like I told you, I've always been around music when I was little. But the thing is that as I got older, I started loving it more. Because when I was younger, I was forced into music, but I never liked it. Like my grandmother, I lived with my grandparents growing up. My grandmother, she wanted always to put me into music because we came from like a Christian family, like, you know, Christian household, you know, religious household. So we were always in church. I was actually in church, you know, singing in the choir. I was always in the choir. So I was, you know, in there practicing singing and all that stuff. So I was just around that area a lot. So as I was young, you know, I was always like into that. And, you know, I was very immature. So she was always trying to put me into music, but I never wanted to. And I always like, why do I have to do it? She was always forcing me. She was paying her money that I didn't even want to be in, something like that. And she would always put me into music class and, you know, take me to practice, do all this stuff. And I just never wanted to be. Fast forward years later, I'm forever grateful for that moment. Like if it was not for her, I probably wouldn't be here right now. If I'm being honest with you, like
So it was your grandma.
If she never forced me into those music classes and like things like that, I wouldn't be a music producer today. I guarantee that for sure.
Damn, that's beautiful. The influence of your family.
Yeah. Obviously, I was young. I never wanted to, but as I got older, I saw what she saw, you know. Like,
what did you have an interest in before that?
To be honest, like I said, I really didn't have any interest like that.
Yeah, you were probably too young.
I was too young because the thing is, I was like drilled into that as I was young. Like I'm telling you, I was maybe like 5, 6 years old. That's all I knew at the time, you know.
Word.
It was either go home, play video games with my friends, or go to music class, go to school, come back to music class, go to church.
Word,
literally a cycle that repeats itself.
Do you have any siblings?
I do, but I'm not. Well, now I'm, you know, as I'm getting older, I'm getting closer to them, but I've never really grew up with them. I have two. I'm the middle one. So my dad has me and my little brother, but he's married to somebody else. And my older brother is through my mom's side. So my mom had me and my older brother.
Were they also like drilled that music love, or it was just you?
Oh no, yeah, it was just me because I was the only one that grew up with my grandparents. Everybody else, you know, grew up with somebody else. Like my little brother, he's a baseball player, so that's his thing, you know.
I see.
I was never I never really grew up with them, you know. Obviously, as I'm getting older, I'm connecting more with them and things like that. But
I feel you.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm curious. The music industry is a very hard industry, but I feel like the more there's different pathways to be successful in the music industry. And what has been a good pathway for you that has worked in order to stay consistent all along?
That's a good question. I feel like as if the best way to really stay consistent is really who you're around, who you surround yourself with. Because you're in the music industry, and as you know, like the music industry is very fucked up. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's very hard. It's very fucked up. It's very, you know, stressing. It takes a lot. You know, when it comes to your mental health, it takes a lot. So I just would say whoever you surround yourself with is really who makes the best out of it. Like, for example, you know, the one that I'm working on with this Christian album, I'm really close. Like we grew so close together because of this music stuff, and we've learned to love it. Like, you know, we do this music together. We come up with ideas together. We're literally just growing more. Obviously, our relationship is more than music. Like, you know, we're very close on a friend level, you know, friendship level. But when it comes to music, we just have that different type of connection where we're just like, we just get together and we just are able to create, you know.
It's funny how it goes in a full circle.
Yeah, man.
Started with your grandma in like church, and now you're here.
I'm here, man.
Is your grandma still alive?
She is, yeah. She's pretty young, actually. She's not, my grandfather did pass away due to COVID, but she is alive. She's like, I think, 60, 63, 64.
Word, yeah. She's
So she's
so she's able to have you shown her any of your work that you're currently cooking?
oh yeah, she loves it. And you know, whatever it is, like, she's gonna support me. Obviously, like, if it's English music, she probably won't understand, but you know, because she doesn't speak English. But anything that I play her, she's like, man, this is great. And I told her, you know, she's very like religious, so I told her that I'm working on this Christian album with this friend, and she got ecstatic. Like, she got super excited, and she was just right, like,
You know,
looking
when
forward to
parents
that.
like when you finally make it, and parents are like, I made that. That's gonna be your grandma, bro,
Yeah.
because she literally put in the hours to get you going there.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like I always say, I'm always grateful for what she did, what my grandparents really did, because they were there, you know. So I'm like, I always tell her, I'm like, man, like if you didn't put me into these music classes, I wouldn't want to be doing this right now.
Yeah, bro, it's beautiful to see somebody your age, 21. You're actually pretty successful when it comes to music, and in my opinion, I believe you are.
Yeah, I would say so. With that really comes with like, I am where I am now because I feel as if the consistency, you know, I was grinding every day. Like I remember I was in high school, I would miss out on my homework just to focus, like watch YouTube videos on how to make music. I would skip out on classes just to go to the music production class I mentioned to you, and just to be there, just to get on a computer and start doing beats. Like I would miss out on a lot, like homework, where I came to points where I almost failed some classes because I was only focusing on music at the time, and you know, skipping classes, like, but you know, I was able to make it out, so it worked out. So, but
What do your parents say about that? What does your mom say about what we would say when you were doing that, like going through that phase
of like
of choosing your priority at music over school? Was she supportive or?
she did not know. First of all, she did not know I was skipping class and not doing my homework. She did not know, but I was like in the background. I was like focusing on solely music, but she was very supportive. She was actually the first one to buy me my music equipment. She bought my speakers, she bought my microphone, she bought my, you know, my music program that I use and all that stuff. Like she literally, I told her one day, I remember I told her, I was like, yo, I told my grandma, I was like, I think I want to produce music. And she was like, really? And I remember I never forget this day. We were in the car coming from somewhere. We were going home. And I told her, I was like, I think I want to produce music. And she was like, really? And then she was like, why? She was like, I was like, you know, I found interest in that. She was like, oh, I support you 100%. Literally a week later, we went to the music store. She bought me all my music equipment, and it started from that.
That's beautiful, bro.
It's crazy, man.
You have a very supportive family, man.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Very blessed. Man, when you say that the industry is pretty fucked up, what have you come around? What have you encountered in all these years?
It's just how the reason why it's really fucked up is because, you know, a lot of these people like to take advantage of other people. Like, you know, music, when it comes to music, it's very a selfish thing. Like, people are very selfish. People only think about themselves. So they become to themselves where they don't really look out for nobody else. So if they don't look for somebody else, if they don't try to help somebody else, it kind of hurts the other person. So just being around, you know, mentally draining energy where, you know, it's very stressful. It takes a toll on you because it's either, if you're into music, it's either it's going to work out or it's not, you know. It's either people are going to like your music or they're not, you know. So it's just little things in between that really mess up how this industry works and just, you know.
It's interesting because it's an industry where collaboration is everything. A producer cannot become successful without a whole team.
Oh, yeah.
But even then, you see that ego.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. I'm very big on collaboration. So anybody that reaches out to me, I'm always on top. Like, hey, like, yeah, like people reach out, like, let's work, let's do this, like, let's collab, and artists as well. You're like, man, I like your stuff. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm always big because you can't really like focus on just yourself because you're not going to get anything from anything if you just focus on yourself. Like, if you're a solo tree, you're not really going to grow if you just water yourself. Like, you have to water the people around you, and they'll grow together with you. Maybe later down the line you choose your own path, but for the foundation, if you're really starting off, you really have to like look out for the people around you because they're in the same shoes you are in. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to get better. They're trying to learn new things. So
Word.
You can't really be that selfish.
It's facts, man. Very big facts. How did you learn that?
Not being selfish.
Yeah, like in the music industry, I'm sure when you started out, like you said, when you were in school, people didn't really have a passion towards the same thing that you had. Therefore, you probably stuck to yourself and you were pretty exclusive with the people that you would share your creations with.
Right.
So how did you come across the idea that collaboration would help you become a bigger person in the industry?
That's a great question. For me, how I figured out not to how I learned not to be selfish is I knew my position. I knew if I was good or not. I knew at the beginning, like, I was not good. So nobody was really looking towards me to be like, oh, like, how do you do this? I was the little fish in the big sea, like, I was looking at the big people. I was looking at the people that's been in the game for a long time. I was looking at the people that I can learn from, because this is the learning game. You have to learn. That's the only way you're going to grow. You have to learn, whether it's simple math, 2 + 2 = 4, or whether it's very, high, like multiplication, where it's like more complex. But you have to learn from the people in the game, because that's the only way. So that's how I really learned. I opened my eyes and I opened my ears. I shut up. I was always a fly in the wall. I would go to studio sessions. I would intern in studios and just learn. Now people ask me how I did it, and now people are asking me, like, what's the best route they can take? How do they do this? How do they get better at this? I was once that, I was always trying to learn something new, but, you just have to really maintain that, focus on that, and people are going to come around to you and they're going to ask, like, oh, like, how do I do this? Like,
How do you reach out to these internships?
You just have to know what you're doing. They have to physically know, mentally, like physically know that you're, you have some knowledge, So I was
So initially you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You got to have a proof of concept, and then you have to be sort of courageous enough to put your work out there and share it with other people.
Exactly. Yeah. You cannot walk in there with a blank piece of paper. You have to have some things written, you have to have, some image of like what you can bring to the table or what you have learned in the past years. So that's how I was really able to get into internships. And I've been around a lot of people in this industry, like, a lot of small artists, a lot of big artists. Like, I remember I was interning at this studio one time, and I was the audio engineer, but I was the intern at the time. And I remember I got called up for a recording session one day, but they didn't tell me who it was. And this was pretty late. It was like at 12, 1 in the morning, because studios run 24 hours. It can be literally at 12 p.m. It can be a session at 4 a.m. It really all depends on, like, who's there, how long the sessions are. And I remember one day they were like, oh, we're having a recording session. We need you to come intern so you can, like, be an assistant engineer and, like, just be there. And I go into the studio. I walk into the studio, and I remember this. I never forget. Justin Bieber walks in, actually. And I remember that feeling, just being there. But I really was just really a fly on the wall at the time. I just remember seeing him, and I just seen, like, the big engineers, the big people in the game, just see how they manage these type of situations, how they work with these artists. So it was just like a very, very dope experience just to see what this type of industry can bring, and like what things you can see, you can see big things like that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Sheesh. Is he as good looking as he looks on TV?
Hey, man, I never forget. He came in and he walked, like, just how you think he would come in like very chill. He came in with his friends. He had like a whole bunch of friends with him, and obviously like he had his security with him. It was like 3 people standing side by side, and it was just they came in together. His 3 security guards right next to him, and it was just like, man. And one of the things they teach you in the when you're interning at like recording studios, they tell you like not to like be a fan. Like if you're working in the studio, you cannot be a fan. Like you cannot be like, oh my God, can I get an autograph? Can I get a picture? Because that can like get you bounced very quick, you know. So you have to really be professional and just show total professionalism.
You gotta treat them human.
Yeah, of course, because they're just like us, man. We're just like them, regular.
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's something I've learned as well throughout my time in media.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see those type of people like here and there, like in the middle of the street walking, because you never see these type of celebrities because they're not just like us, like walking the streets of like New York or anything like that. They're very low key.
You feel like you know them.
Exactly,
But in reality, they have no clue who you are.
Exactly, you're like, oh my God, like this is, but they don't know who you are, but
Yeah, man. Yo, that's crazy that you got to be in the same room as Justin Bieber working alongside. Yeah. That's wild, man. That's an experience for sure, bro.
Yeah, man. Just being, once you're around that for a long time, you start to learn and you start to see things that you probably would never envision yourself really seeing,
Probably inspires you a lot to keep going, That's what creates the consistency.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You realize that once you are surrounded by those people that you can actually make it, and there's actually success that comes along with sticking with it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Eventually, you start getting better. They'll reach out to you one day. They'll be like, hey, man, I'm going to be in the city. I need an engineer. I need a music producer. Can you come? Like, you'll be in, you could be in the position of the biggest people in no time. You just really have to put the work in,
Yes, bro. Yeah, I agree. Sheesh, man.
Yeah.
That's definitely a big anecdote right there.
Yeah, man.
It's interesting how it all comes around to connections.
Right.
And always serving the community.
Of course, yeah.
What is your vision, your ultimate vision?
That's a great question. My ultimate vision, man, is just to inspire, man. I want to, whatever it is I'm doing, I just want to inspire the next generation, because I know how it is. People not really reaching out, people not really looking towards your way because, they may think you're not able to do it. They may think that, you don't got what it takes. But I just want to be able to inspire the next generation. Like, I'm young now, but I always say, like, my goal is always to inspire. So that's really what I want to do, Just want to be somebody that anybody can reach out to. I want to be that person for, somebody that doesn't feel like they can't reach out, or like, they can't ask for help, or like whatever it is, whether it is like through music, whether it is through like real life situations, I just want to be that person that they can feel comfortable and reach out to. So
that's so interesting. Every person I have on, whenever we get to questions like that about what is your vision, what is your end goal for all of this big life project that you're building,
right?
The end vision always tends to be about giving back.
Of course.
And they usually don't say, I want millions, I want to have a big fan base, I want to do all these things. It's never that.
Of course.
It's never an egocentric thing.
Yeah, man.
So it goes to show, like, in this world, humans are good because they always seek, the ultimate joy for them would be to serve other people, to give back.
Of course.
And it kind of contradicts what goes on in the world, Like, you see all these wars and stuff, and you ask yourself, well, is that in our human nature?
Yeah.
It's really interesting, man. Right. I love your answer.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, bro. It's very humble.
Yeah.
Especially from musicians.
Oh, of course, yeah. You have to learn to be very humble, because this industry, this life that we live, it can humble you pretty quick. Like, you can get humbled yourself pretty fast. So you have to learn to be humble and just stay low key, man, just because your time is going to come up. Like, your name is going to be called one day. So just got to wait for it. It's going to come. It's going to happen,
Yeah, man. Um, so there is this thing that I keep on finding out, and it's ambition, action, association. Clearly, your ambition was formed by your grandmother.
Right.
Right. When would you believe the action came in? The real shifting point. Was it through high school? Was it when you started interning? Was it when you started connecting with some people?
Yeah, it was definitely through high school. I got into high school. I got into my sophomore year. I started producing music sophomore year, and by junior year, I already had my foundation set. Like by junior year, I was already producing music for some artists, local artists. I was already producing music for friends, and by senior year, I'm about to graduate high school. I already had a plan. I was like, okay, after I'm done with high school, I'm gonna go into this audio school so I can learn music production, audio engineering, so I can get my diploma in this, and I can just grow my resume bigger, and that's how I went. I finished high school and went straight to learning everything about music really, and just how to really be an engineer when it comes to audio and music and all that stuff.
Did you have a mentor?
That's a great question. I really didn't have a mentor. My only mentorship was just learning from, YouTube videos and, just seeing how it can really pan out. Like, oh, this can go this way, this can go that way. So I really didn't have a mentorship because I was never really around friends or family members that really, everybody had their own route, like family members had their own thing, some other friends that I grew up with had their own thing too. Like, so it's just like I was really learning my own thing, So I had to figure it out on my own, to be honest.
That's interesting. When you said you had a degree in music engineering, correct?
Yeah, audio engineering.
Audio engineering, yeah. So what was the difference from going to school to doing things on your own? What different things did you learn?
You learn a lot, man. You learn literally the basics of it. You learn the most advanced stuff, and you really learn everything about the industry and how it works, how all these sounds get produced, how everything, works in real life situations when it comes to like live performances, recording sessions and things like that. So you learn literally like the nitty gritty of everything. So that's just, everybody has their own, their own route, and that was definitely a humbling experience going to school for that and just being around all this technical stuff. You see all these buttons and all these, soundboards and control rooms and stuff, all these microphones, expensive equipment, all this stuff. So it's just like, man, like this is what I signed up for. This is what I came to do, and it's been working out ever since. So I'm always grateful for that.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Damn,
Man.
bro. That sounds super fun.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a surreal experience just actually doing what you learn.
What do you think was the biggest amount of value that you got out of school?
That's a great question. To be honest, the only really the value that I really got is just to appreciate music industry and just being grateful for what you have and what you're doing, because it can be like taken like that in an instant, you can have it all one day and then all the next, you're doing something else, or you move on to the next thing, because that industry is a patient industry. You really have to be patient and, know that it takes time. You can't rush things because you're not going to learn the right way you should learn. So you can't rush anything. You have to really be consistent and, just take it step by step, because that's the only way you'll really get better. So,
yeah. Where do you get your inspiration from, bro? For the music that you create, for all your projects, to connect with people? Where does all this come from?
That's a great question. My inspiration really comes from, sometimes I inspire myself, but I really get inspirations from industry artists, industry producers, like I mentioned before, like Metro Boomin. That's very a big producer that I really look up to and just learn a lot from him. Obviously, there's other producers, music composers, people that are that been in the industry for years. Old people too, like Hans Zimmer too, very big music composer. And He's been in the game for a long time. These are like people I've really looked up to, and you just learn to. You have to learn because that's what they've been doing. That's what they're teaching. They're teaching how to get better. They're teaching how it took them to the level that they're at. So, you just gotta, like I said, you really have to be a fly in the wall and just learn. One thing I can say is I'm very versatile. So when it comes to like different music, I'm all for it. Like recently I've been starting to produce like, music for like Spanish artists. I've been producing music and doing like rock music as well. Like obviously I'm getting into this Christian stuff, like things that I've never really envisioned myself doing, but here I am just producing these type of songs for these type of artists, like, Spanish and like, rock, heavy rock and things like that. Like, and it's just like things I've never really saw myself doing, but here I am those.
There's this book called The One Thing, and it talks about how you should stick with one thing and just do that. But it feels like there is some wisdom to that, but
Right.
there's also an opposite to it. And it's you should also study masters from all over, from different avenues within the same realm.
Yeah, because you got to pick from each little bag, you got to like, get a taste of literally everything. Reason why, I'm very versatile on, and try everything, just because you can't really, that's a good point that you have, like, that book, how you just stick to one thing. But if you really want to change the game, if you really want to get better, you really have to learn everything. You have to learn literally everything. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm just in the process of trying things that I've never experienced, like, trying things that I've never really thought of doing, but here I am doing it,
Yeah. It's all the same, bro. Throughout every career, throughout every passion.
Yeah.
You need to learn that you are the little fish.
Of course.
And you need to literally be a fly on the wall and learn from the masters. Be humble enough to become adaptable and moldable by them.
Always, yeah. Even the biggest people learn from people in the industry, like the richest person still gonna learn from from the people that been there longer than them. The best musician is still gonna be learning from people bigger than them. So no matter what, it's always a learning curve. It's always, you have to learn every single day. That's the only way you'll get better. You have to sharpen the mind. You have to get, you're not gonna get better in any other way. Even if you're already good, there's always room for improvement. So
Agreed. And not only you can learn from people above you, you can also learn from people below you.
of course, yeah. Everybody has something different they can bring to the table. Somebody below you may, implicate something that you never thought of, and like you'll be like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, oh my god, like I should try this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great point, though.
Yeah, there's a song by Bob Dylan, "The Times Are Changing," and Steve Jobs talks about that a lot. And he would. He passed away, but yeah, it's like the times are changing, and therefore you need to learn how to adapt to those changes.
Of course.
And you need to look at the people and how they're moving in order to remain successful in the industry.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then you will get left behind and you become forgotten.
Of course, yeah.
And that's why people like Kendrick, like J. Cole, Drake, that's why they're still relevant, because it's been a long time. It's been, 20 years?
Yeah.
And they're still making the same hits over and over and over again.
Of course, man. It's just all about longevity, If you've been in the game for long enough, you would only improve, and, you're still going to be the person you were 20 years ago. Maybe slightly better, but you're still going to remain that person. Nothing is really going to change.
Yeah, man. Do you also write?
That's a great question. So I was actually talking to my friend, the one that I'm working with now. I told him, I was like, writing, it's a skill within itself. Like, that's literally a skill. Like, if you know how to write, then, I can take you places, because it's very hard. I don't know how to write, but, I definitely know how to compose. So if I have to, like, put my 2 cents in on, if I'm in a room full of writers, people that are writing music, I can definitely say I can put my 2 cents into that. But Personally, me writing though, like a full song or anything like that, I don't think so. I don't think, you know, because it's very hard, man. If you got that talent, then that's a special talent to have if you know how to write. Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. Trust me, I've seen a lot. I've been in rooms, studio sessions full of writers. I've been in rooms full of, you know, musicians, and like you just learn little bits and pieces from everybody. Everybody writes differently than everybody, you know. So it's very a fun thing to see, but it's a very challenging thing as well.
How many hours a day do you tend to spend in the studio, like on average?
So recently I've tried to, you know, because it takes a lot. Like I get tired pretty quick now, but recently I've tried to be in the studio no more than 4 or 5 hours. But before, I would be in the studio for the whole day, maybe almost. Like I'll go into the studio early, leave at night, or sometimes I'll go in at night and then come out the studio when the sun is coming up, you know. So it just depends. And like sometimes those are like back-to-back days. Like you'll be in the studio all day today, then you got to come back again tomorrow and literally repeat the same thing you
but
did.
That's what gets you to the top.
Oh yeah.
You gotta nurture those hours and harness that.
Yeah, you have to be there. You have to show up, because once you give in and once you're like, man, I can't do this no more, then that's it. You're basically lost. You're not.
People remember you. They remember you showing up.
Of course.
That's how opportunities come along.
Yeah, man. They're gonna see who you really are. They're gonna see if you got what it takes, if you're showing up, you know, coming in every day, you know, putting in the hours. They'll see that. Trust me, they'll notice you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's facts. I'm curious. I'm not really familiar with music itself, but how long does it usually take, the process from getting an idea to creating the beat to adding the lyrics to cleaning it up, etc.? How long does that process usually take for a song?
So for many, that's a process that takes days, sometimes months. Sometimes, you know, people make a song in a day. It takes them 2-3 days to make a full song, you know. It just depends on like your work, like how you work, and, you know, who you're around. You know, people work in different speeds. Obviously it's not a race, but, you know, everybody has their own way of really working. Like when it comes to me, like personally, when it comes to having an idea of, you know, for a beat or like a song, I'll come up with that idea. And if I have that idea right then and there, I have to go and really apply that, because if I let that idea fly by, I'm going to forget about it and I'm not going to come back to that. So if I have an idea, I have to do it. I will apply it. I'll make the beat. I'll finish the beat. Usually it takes me about, you know, if I'm making something on the fly, like right there, it'll probably take me like 15, 20 minutes. But if I'm recording a song, making a beat, recording a song and all that, maybe like 2-3 hours, I'll have, you know, the beat done, the record done. And, you know, obviously you have more that entails, like, for example, you have to like mix the song, you know, you have to like, you know, do mastering on a song. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different side of like, you know, the process of just making music.
From being in the industry and being able to share the same room, the same workspace with all these influential people, what characteristics have you learned from them that are fundamental to their success?
That's a great question. Like I mentioned before, everybody is like everybody else. Like you're just like me, I'm just like you. Everybody is learning the same way everybody needs to learn. So they were just like the people that I've really like been around, they always say the same thing. Like they're like, I'm just like you. Like, you know, I've grew up working this way. I stayed consistent, and, you know, for me it worked out. So literally everybody has the same type of work ethic. Like you have to put in the work in order for something to really like work out. So, you know, you'll probably get like different stories from somebody because, you know, their journey may be different, but at the end it's the same, you know.
Man, if there is one thing I would like people to take away from this episode, is that. It really is, bro.
Yeah, man.
Consistency.
Of course, man. Everybody is, like I said, like no famous person is different than you. Like everybody's the same. Like we're human, you know, like we breathe the same, we talk the same, we eat the same, we do everything the same. There's nothing really different. Obviously everybody's journey is different, but the end goal, it's the same, you know. We all want we all want good for ourselves. We want to be better. We want to reach the top. You know, we want to be able to inspire. So, but all that takes work.
Beautiful, beautifully said. Recently I came across this guy. You remember that yodeling kid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a star now, man.
exactly. That's my point. Even somebody that had 15 seconds of fame.
That's
You
all
know-
it takes.
Yeah, but you ask yourself, well, this person that had 15 seconds of fame and now is a star, you know, he put in the hours to get to where he's at now.
Oh yeah, of course. If
Luck,
thing-
luck only goes to those that put in their work.
Yeah, of course not. The thing is that I can give you $1 million right now, but you'll blow it tomorrow. You'll have no $1 million. I can give you $1 million right now, and you can multiply that $1 million into $3 million tomorrow. You can multiply that into $5 million next week. But you have to work for that. You know, you can't just have $1 million out of nowhere and be like, oh, now I'm gonna have $5 million next week. Like, how is that gonna happen? You know, if you don't really work for it. So, like, back to him, for example, like, you know, that 15-second video made him a star, but that can just go away like that if you don't put in the work, you know. Like, so that's really how it is with anything, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, man. Sheesh. Dang, I really wanted to ask you something and I just forgot. What was it? Oh yeah. So throughout the 6-7 years that you've been consistent, have there been times where you've been like, man, forget this thing?
Every time. I was actually talking to Vic the other day, and I was having these type of thoughts. This happens to me every time. I was telling him, I called him, and it was late. It was almost 1 a.m. because he was supposed to call me a little earlier than that, but he was busy that day. But he ended up calling me like pretty late at night, and I was telling him, I was like, man, like, I'm just having these thoughts again. Like, I think it's time to hang it up. I think it's time to like just give it up, man. Just because, you know, everything changes. Like, you know, our mind changes consistently. Like, sometimes, like, you know, we want something today, tomorrow we don't want it, but you really have to like stick through it and like just, you know, get through that in order to stay. Like, if you give up, trust me, you're gonna give up and you're gonna lose to that, you know. So that happens to me all the time, but I haven't really quit just because I know my worth, you know. I know that I really put in the hours. I know that people want to see me make music. I know people, I may not be the famous person, I might not be famous right now, but I know people, you know, look up to me and be like, man, like, you know, like, I see you doing music and it inspires me. So if I give up, then what hope do I really have to give others, you know? Like, I'm just showing them that I'm just giving up and just throwing it all away. So, but that happens to me all the time though. Like, thoughts of quitting and like not making music, trust me. And it happens with anything, with whatever you do, you know.
Sheesh, man.
Yeah, man.
When after the storm passes, and you manage to get past the quitting phase, what do you realize that a lot of it was internal?
It's all in the mind, man. To be honest, like, once you start overthinking and all that, it's all in the mind. Like, if you tell yourself you'll be rich tomorrow, you can do it. If you want to tell yourself you want to give it up and quit and be a loser, you can do that too. It's all in the mind. It's just, you know, you can't just let your mind win every single time, you know, because the mind can take over and it can be really good or it can be really bad, you know. So you can't really give into that. So it's all in the mind, man. If you tell yourself you want something, you go for it. If you tell yourself something is not going to work out, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, I was recently talking to my friend about he's a psychologist, and he talked to me about how he used the word boycott.
Yeah,
How we boycott our own selves, and
of course.
we just
Yeah, we really just destroy ourselves just by, you know, implementing these bad things and like saying what we can't do and like, you know.
and it's really overthinking, because there is no
Always.
facts that hold up to that story that we created within ourselves.
Yeah, always, man. It's always going to be overthinking, man.
Yeah. What have been some of your favorite projects that you've encountered throughout these years?
Personal projects or like projects from other people.
Let's start with personal projects.
Personal projects, I have a few. Actually have an R&B tape that I have with one of my great friends as a collab. It's a collab tape that me and my friend did. We did an R&B, and that's probably one of my favorite ones as of now. And that came out like 2023, I'm sorry, February of 2023. It literally came out the beginning of last year, and it's probably just because of like the process of how that came along. That's probably one of my favorite projects as of now.
Can you give a little more insight about it? What is it about?
So it's a R&B tape, so solely just R&B music, you know. Like obviously I produced all the songs and like my friend just recorded, and we came together, made this, and so many people like this project. It's actually one of my biggest projects, I think.
What is it called?
It's called Before Anyone Else.
Word.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, man. It's pretty dope. You guys should check it out. It's very personal, but also it can relate to a lot of things, you know, a lot of relationship things. You know, if you're in love, you can relate to that. If you're going through some deep stuff, you can also relate to that. So it's a project for everybody. And it's probably one of my biggest projects now. I think it's at like 12,000 streams right now. So,
yeah. That's the purple one,
and
right?
counting.
It looks like purple bluish.
It's kind of reddish, like.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
With the skull and
yes. I think that is the one that I checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You're actually a really good producer, honestly, man. I really do mean that.
Like I said, man, it's all about consistency, man. Like, you know.
Yeah, but consistency is part of it. Yes, I agree. But some people are naturally talented, and that's a. I don't want to like bring down on some people, but like, if you're not good at this thing,
oh yeah,
you can be consistent.
Yeah, but it's not gonna work out. Yeah,
yeah.
You have to have some knowledge. Like I said, I grew up in this music stuff, so I know how this thing is. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm naturally talented, but I have some knowledge of like how music is and how music is made and all that. So that really helped me a lot.
And that's the difference. Some people can elevate it and can take the next step. Other people just leave it as a hobby.
Yeah.
And I do think you can take it to the next step if you keep on grinding at it.
Oh yeah, this is not a hobby for me.
Exactly.
This is not a hobby. It maybe it was before, but it's not a hobby no more. I'll tell you that it's not.
Sheesh,
I
man.
take this way too serious. Like,
what's your That's something that happens with creatives a lot. They take it serious and they take it too serious. And I was telling you earlier how personally I've been slacking on myself in order to keep the podcast growing. How do you manage yourself and your time and your relationships, your social life, your personal life, your mental health, all these things in a way that keeps your dreams alive?
I pace myself. Like I said, like you mentioned, like you can lose focus quick if you focus strictly on that. You'll lose yourself super quick, just because that's all you think about. You think about music, you think about this, but you have to think about also the real life things that go outside in the in the real world. Like your health, your mental health. Like things that you do at home, the things you eat. Your routine when you wake up, when you go to sleep, like you're basically like your everyday life. You also have to think about that, because once you really start just focusing on one thing, you'll lose yourself. You'll really like start losing focus and like not worry about things that really matter outside of that. So for me, I just pace myself, and I know, music is there. I'm always going to consistently be producing music and, making music, but sometimes you got to slow yourself down and, tell yourself that you need a break, because that can really damage you mentally. So for me, that's how it is, really. Like I just know I have to take breaks, and I take a lot of breaks. Like if you really know how I work, I take pretty significant amount of breaks, like sometimes even long. Sometimes I'll take weeks off. Sometimes I'll take months off and like not making music. You need that sometimes.
You gotta look at like Kendrick.
Yeah, man, but Kendrick is different, man. He's taking years off now. So like.
Who do you think is your favorite rapper? Just curious. Any answer other than Kendrick is wrong.
I'm not gonna say Kendrick.
Wow, that's it. I'm kicking you off the podcast. I'm turning off this camera right here.
I'm not gonna say Kendrick. I think my favorite artist.
Top three. Top three.
All right, I'll give you top three. I'll give them maybe in order. My number
rappers
one. Rappers. All right, I'll give you my number. The thing is that this list is not like old school list. Like it's not like Kendrick. It's not like J. Cole. It's not like none of these people.
Okay, so let's do this. Rapper and lyricist.
Nah, let's just do rappers. Let's just do
Okay,
rappers.
rapper.
All right, so my number one is probably Young Thug.
You're supposed to go backwards, bro.
Oh, whatever.
It's supposed to be number 3, then 2, then
All
1.
right, so I'll say number 2 is Drake, and number 3 probably, I don't know, maybe like Travis Scott or something. Just because you see like the dynamic, you see these very influential people, like they bring something different to the table. You know, they learn from different people. Like they have something different. They have different type of taste. So like it's just like it's very crazy to see how these like industry artists really work. So that really inspires me to see how like these type of artists make this type of music.
Young Thug was a surprising answer.
Yeah, he's been really, when I got into rap, he was one of the first. Like, obviously, I'm not including like old school rap because I grew up on old school rap. But when it came to like the new school rap and things like that, he was actually one of the first ones that I really like gravitated to. Like, he was one of the ones that really showed me, like, introduced me to this new school rap and stuff like that. So that's why he's been my favorite rapper for a long time, really, since I was like maybe like in middle school, maybe a little bit before that.
Nice. I want to ask you about your circle, your close circle. When it comes to the industry, it's important to be firm with your close circle.
Oh yeah.
You talked about how like Justin Bieber walked in the studio with his personal friends. I've heard stories of Kendrick doing the same. I've been able to work with in the past I worked with Rakim.
Yeah.
And I also saw him with his close friends. And there's no people that are not close friends that go with them.
Oh, of course.
And so what does your close friend circle look like?
So my circle is very small, because I really stay to myself. Having a big circle can only like, bring either good things or bad things. Most of the time it's really bad things just because you really have to isolate yourself and, you can't really be around too many people. But my close circle, I mentioned to you, like, for example, like the one I'm making this Christian album with, like we grew up together, basically. Like me and him were little kids, going to church together. He would come over and, we would hang out, whatever. Obviously, throughout the years, we started getting into music and, making music together. So he's definitely one of and his name is Sammy. So that's one of my good friends. And then obviously I have my best friend, my childhood best friend, who's a chef actually. And
damn, he be cooking.
Yeah, man, he be in there, he be cooking. And I'm just grateful to have these type of people around me. And obviously Vic, me and Vic have gotten very close these last few years, and I've definitely considered him as somebody that I can really look up to and like really trust. So you really have to know what people are bringing to the table. Like these good influential people. You can't really have too many bad influence around you because that can really mess you up. So yeah. I'm just grateful to have these type of people that I can really look up to, learn from, and just be grateful that I have them around.
Shameless plug. Vic, episode 1.
Yeah.
I'm curious if when you look at these stars that succumb to like drugs and all this pleasure and clubbing and stuff like that, I'm curious if it is because they weren't mentally strong from the start. Like I look at you, for example, and your circle is pretty firm. You say it's a close circle.
Right.
You know who you are. You understand yourself. You know how to navigate yourself.
Yeah.
But do a lot of these stars, what do you think? Do you think a lot of these stars struggle because they obtain the fame through their talent rather than putting in the hours to work on themselves? Or do you think that the environment is what shapes them?
Yeah, it's definitely the environment. Like, you're going to walk into rooms where there's 50 people you do not know, 50 people that come from different backgrounds, 50 people that have a different journey, So you're going to learn from a lot of things, and you're going to see a lot of bad things in the industry just because there's a lot of bad influence, Like, if you really, like, are not mentally strong enough, being in these type of rooms with these type of people can, like, really mess you up just because it's the influence that they're around. It's not really like how they grew up. It's not really like, oh, like, you know, they just gravitate towards that. It's around the people that you're around, because, you know, if I start hanging out with you more and I drink or I smoke cigarettes, you're gonna be around that all the time. You're gonna prone to maybe not do it how I do it, but you're probably gonna gravitate towards that, or like maybe want to try it. I'm not saying this is a disclaimer. I'm not saying that I drink or I smoke, but I'm just saying you hang around with those type of people, you're gonna learn, and then you're just gonna stick to that, and eventually that's gonna be a part of you. So
It depends how it affects you. You can either build a wall and make it something that's really negative in your life, if it's affecting you negatively.
Yeah.
But if it is allowing you to become a part of the environment and giving you that entry towards that group of people,
right.
then you will praise it, and then you will start being a part of it.
Oh yeah, of course. It's just the thing is that everybody wants to fit in. They want to be able to be the cool person in the room. They want to be able to like hang around with the cool people, you know. And sometimes these type of things are not really cool. They just seem cool because everybody's gravitating towards it, and they think that's that's something good, you know, doing what's bad. But that's the thing. Everybody just wants to be able to fit in, but you know, that's why a lot of people just give into that, just because they want to be a part of that type of environment, that type of crew, you know.
And that's why it is important that they taught you that you can't be a fan.
Oh, you can't. Yeah.
You gotta treat them normal. You gotta treat them how you treat me, how I treat you. Because when you hold them to a higher standard, then you wanna become like them. You wanna be accepted by them.
Yeah.
And you will become their slave in a way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And trust me, there's a lot of slave work in this industry. Like, you'll become a slave to the industry super fast, you know, super quick. So
yeah, I mean, you become a slave to it by the amount of time that you spend there, and the amount of time.
But
that
not
you
even
take care
that,
of
you
yourself.
become a slave to other people, not yourself, but you become to a slave other people in the industry. You know, you know, people take advantage of you, like I mentioned before, and you know, they can really damage you just because of, like, you know, they'll treat you wrong, or they'll like show you what's wrong, or like, you know, they'll just blind you and tell you what you want to hear, like show you what you want to see and things. So
it's a crazy world, man.
yeah, man.
That industry is
It's a very.
How do you feel about the industry nowadays, where there is a lot of explicit content?
The world is evolving, man. Like, you know, it's like relationships nowadays, things like that. It's not how it was before. Now everybody's just solely to themselves, free. Like, even, you know, like, people just don't care no more. I remember back then people used to be scared to like get exposed on the internet or something, or like just show something on the internet. Now you can literally pay to see the craziest thing on the internet, you know. So it's just how the world is really evolving, you know. Like, you know, the internet is growing quick, technology is getting much better, like, and much like worse too, because, you know, as technology really, like, you know, gets better, or like, you know, starts to, you know, climb and just get bigger, it can be bad too, you know.
Yeah.
So
You talk about technology. Have you heard about the AI music that's been coming out?
yeah, man, it's a scary thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, with this technology, like, you can either make a lot of money or you lose a lot of money, just because.
Well, which one are you gonna do?
Neither. Neither, because it's crazy. It's scary to think like AI can really take over your job, you know, quick, and they can replace you quick. Like, and you're already starting to see it. Like, you know, these cars that drive itself, these restaurants, you go to these restaurants, you have these robots coming up to you, these at these supermarkets, you know, like, it's just a growing thing, like, you know. And like, literally AI is literally on social media too. Like, you can, you know, ask AI to do something, or like, you know, ask you something, and they'll literally tell you everything, you know. It's a scary thing, man.
Sheesh, man. Do you think that the AI music is good?
It may be good, but it's wrong, man. Like, that shouldn't be a thing, because it can replace artists, and it can confuse a lot of people quick. Like a lot of people can lose their jobs to that. A lot of artists can really lose a lot of money because of that. If you think of it, like,
but it's the idea. You know, an artist is an artist. What makes Picasso is his idea, his thought process, his creation.
Exactly. So it's very, like, your idea is unique, but
yes,
AI can really implement something very fast and very quick just because of like how technology is really growing.
maybe could give endless options of it and through that way. But in order to filter it, I think it would be hard.
Oh yeah. But I mean, this is just the beginning, man. Like,
it is the beginning, bro.
it's just the beginning, and it's looking scary already. It is just the beginning.
It's pretty good for the start.
Yeah. It's super advanced now. You can only imagine 5 years from now, 10 years from now, like, and we're young, man. We're probably gonna be able to see what's gonna happen in 5, 10 years from now. You know, man, like 20 years down the line. Like, if this is just the beginning, I'm kind of scared to see what's to come. You know, man.
But it's naive to choose to avoid it. I think
You could, yeah, but I feel like it's very hard just because it's literally smacked on everything nowadays. Like, you open social media, AI is there. You open music apps, you know, AI can help you. You go to buy something, AI can help you. Like, you go in person to places, AI is there. So it's just like, it's very hard to escape it because it's already there, you know.
I believe that the companies that kind of reject the idea of AI are the ones that are gonna crumble in the next 5-10 years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're not gonna be able to hold up.
No, yeah.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, man, because like I said, AI can be a good thing for certain people, for certain companies, but it can also be a bad thing, you know. And for the companies that eventually could crumble because of, like, they don't want to go that route, is because they don't think AI can maybe bring something good to their company. Maybe AI could, but they just don't see it that way, you know.
The traditional mindset.
Yeah.
Sheesh, man. Here's a good segue. So I recently started seeing that they're using AI to write books.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Like I told you before, man.
Writing books would be so sick, bro. With an AI, just do all the work for me. I'll just
Like
organize
I said,
it.
it can do a lot of things. Like, a lot of people are gonna lose their jobs because of AI.
Maybe. So I've been hearing you have a book coming.
I do, man. I do. It's
Allegedly.
It's in the works. Yeah, I have a book. I've been working on it for some time now, and I should have it done by the end of this year.
What can you tell me about the book? What's it gonna be about?
So it's gonna be a little bit about everything. I talk about mental health. I talk about, you know, our real life experiences with how we live in this world, and, you know, the things we see and the things we experience, and, you know, just how to become a better person overall, and, you know, just be yourself. And I talk about, you know, relationships as well, you know, things like that. So the book is called No Second Guessing. So it's basically about, you know, how not to second guess a lot of chances, a lot of, you know, opportunities we come across. So it's going to be a very good book, very, you know, very informative book as well. And this book is going to, like, help a lot of people get through things, get through certain situations, you know, get through serious things, and, like, at least help them slightly. Even if it doesn't help them completely, they can, you know, feel some type of comfort when they come towards that book. You know.
I think you're the right person to write it.
You think so?
I think so, bro. I think you're somebody that's very wise and has experienced a lot in this world.
Yeah.
And you have seen the top of the top. Yeah. And you're able to be humble enough to kind of, like, pick away the exact things that are required,
right,
to find real joy in this world.
Yeah.
And you're also able to divert from the things that are bad for you.
Yeah.
So I think I think you will do it justice. Yeah, I'm excited to see.
I'm super excited, man. Like, you're gonna like this book, man. Trust me, you're gonna like it, man.
I can't wait, bro.
Like, I always say, like, not to be cocky or anything, but I always say, like, if it's not good, or if it's not probably the best thing I've ever, like, written or created, then I won't ever release it, because I don't want to give somebody something that's not to my full capacity. Like, if it's not the best thing somebody has read, and don't want to personally release it. So
Yeah, but people develop and people grow
yeah,
throughout time. So I think it's yes, you gotta be confident enough to know that you can create something that's gonna be incredibly beautiful.
for sure.
But you also gotta understand that that you grow as a person, and
Right.
today's ideas will be different than 5 years ideas.
Right. Right.
So I think it's about sharing it with other people before you release it and checking in with them if they truly understand and getting some real feedback.
Yeah.
I think that would help you. But yeah, man. Sheesh. I'm thinking about the cover. Do you know what cover?
I haven't really came up to it because I have like, I have a full team. I have a team of like graphic designers. I have a team of editors. I have a team that's gonna like, proofread it. I have a team that's gonna release the book in, in stores and like, physical, physical stores and like stores like online websites. So I have a team for everything. So right now I'm kind of coming up with ideas to like hand out to the graphic designers, people that are gonna design my covers. So that's in the works. But I have something, but that's something like low key. That's gonna be,
Gee.
I'll tell you this though. It's not gonna be like your traditional like white cover. It's gonna be a black cover all around. So that's gonna be very different. It's gonna be nice.
I could see that because you're always wearing black, bro.
It just looks good on me, man. You know what I'm saying? But nah, yeah. I just wanted it to be different. I wanted to like set the tone for something different. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to, have something to myself that I can like really be like, okay, this is not like your typical whatever. So.
Bro, what keeps you inspired to always be creating?
That's a great question, man. I don't know, man. Sometimes, like I said, I inspire myself. Like, I just want to be better than I like was yesterday than I was last year. So it's just like it pushes me to want to create more and just be better overall. Not even as a creator, but as a person. So
That's incredible, man.
yeah,
6 years plus. Let's say you were 15. Always having that
you
eagerness.
thought I was 15?
What is it?
You thought I was 15?
No. I'm saying 6 years ago when you started the process, you were around 15.
Oh, yeah, 15, 16. Yeah.
And at that age, bro, people are not really thinking of creating stuff that will be shared to the world. And, I don't believe you were consistent enough at 15.
Oh, yeah.
But you definitely stuck through, and that's what's maybe at 17 you started being more consistent, and at 19, and now look at 21. You're able to reap all the things that you cultivated at those ages.
For sure.
And you kind of trained yourself to always be doing something throughout all these years.
For sure.
And you say that you do take rest and you do these things, but even then I feel like your mind is constantly running. It's a hamster just going.
I was actually talking to one of my friends, and I literally texted him like at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because I had an idea of a song that I wanted to do with him. I literally texted him like at 4 in the morning. I was like, yo, you're up right now? I have an idea. He was like, yo, bro, like, don't worry about music right now. I'm like, yo, I'm always worrying about music. He was like, yo, bro, it's mad late. I'm like, yo, but I got this idea, whatever. And I remember I wrote it down, and I woke up the next morning, and I told him fully, like, the whole thing. Like, oh, this is what I was thinking about. Like, this happens to me a lot. Like in the middle of the night, like I'll wake up, or like it was hard for me to go to sleep because I have an idea that's running through my head. Like I might be taking a break, but I'm always thinking about the next thing. I'm always thinking about what I can do better, what I can do different. So, and then sometimes during the day, sometimes during the night, where I wake up out of nowhere and just be like, yo, I got this idea. I got to write this down so I don't forget or something,
And that's how you know that you will be successful, because you have a love for the game.
Yeah, man. I love it a lot, and I've learned to love it, because it'll love you back, If you really show the right love towards it, it'll love you back.
And you don't want to take away from it. You want to give back to it.
Of course, man.
Sheesh, man. When I finished with Vic, he asked me if I had any last words of wisdom to give to the world. I wonder what your words are.
Like I always say, man, if you want to do something, don't ever think you can't just because somebody tells you that you cannot do it. If you want to do something, if you want to be the next biggest author, biggest actor, biggest whatever, just go for it, man. Because the only way you'll really find out if you can't do something, if you don't do it, you have to do it in order for you to really figure out if that works out for you or not. So don't ever, don't ever think you can't do something just because people tell you can't, man. And just inspire yourself so you can inspire others. Like, that's always my goal. I always want to inspire the next people, like my friends, my family, people that I don't even know, people that are on social media that look at me. I want to be able to inspire everybody. So that's just, I always think that way, and I always say that, man.
It's beautiful. One last thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Ideas. Do you think ideas choose people, or do you think ideas just go hopping around each person, and it's whoever wants to actually take it and harness that idea and bring it to life?
Oh yeah, it chooses different people, because an idea can come to you, but if you don't really apply it, then you don't, because I always say chances never really come around twice, man. So if it comes around the first time, you really have to take it in and, really apply it, man, because if you have the opportunity to do something great, man, you have to do it, man, because it's given to you for a reason, man. We're here for a reason. We're given a special talent for a reason, man,
And I just keep on thinking of more things as you speak. I had one last thing actually.
Yeah, go for it, man.
And it's I'm sorry, I know you gotta get somewhere, so I'm
no
concerned
rush,
about
man.
that.
No rush, man. Go ahead.
It's I'm somebody that's very visual, and I think that's why I started with photography, because when people tell me things, I'm always picturing it very clearly. When people tell me about people, I'm like, yo, can I see a photo of that person before you tell me the name and stuff?
Yeah.
So I can put a face to the name.
Of course, man.
And I have very vivid dreams, bro. Like, my dreams are the most vivid things ever. I confuse them when I get up, and I'm like, yo, was that real or not? I can't tell. But that's just me. That's how my mind works. I'm very visual.
Yeah.
I wonder if for you it is how I can't begin to comprehend it, bro. Music, how does that come to you? Because I can picture an idea in my head and I can do it clearly, but I cannot picture the sounds of it.
I'm always thinking about. I remember that project that I told you that I worked on, this R&B tape, before anyone else. I remember one day I was literally, before we came up with the idea of working on that project, I literally had this idea, this sound, this specific sound, that was running through my mind, like this melody that I wanted to make whatever, and that melody was just in my head all day. I remember I was walking and I was literally pacing around, thinking of literally I was forming the beat in my head before I even made the beat. Like, the beat was already forming before I even got home, got on the computer and thing. So I remember I was pacing because I was just thinking about this beat. The beat was just coming to me, and the melody, I literally heard the melody before I actually made it. So that happened to me, and I went home that day and I called the one that I made the project with. I was like, yo, I have this idea. I was just thinking about, I just heard this melody in my head and I have to make the beat now. I went home, I made the beat from the exact melody that I heard in my head. I made it off the top. And that song is probably the biggest song on the project.
Sheesh. That's incredible, man.
That's actually the most streamed song on that project. It got the most streams on that project. That song.
See, bro? That's a genius coming to life. The God-given talent.
It's scary how that
manifesting
works.
itself to the world.
It's scary how that works, but I never forget that day. I remember I was pacing around in circles just thinking about this because I wasn't home at the time. I was running a few errands or whatever. And this whole day, that melody just came into my head. I went home, made the beat. He went to the studio, recorded the song. We put it on the album. And now it's the biggest song on that tape.
What is the song?
It's called Back and Forth. It's probably, I think it's the first song on the project. Once you open the project, I think it's the very first one.
You gotta sing it now, bro.
Nah, man, you gonna have to listen to that song for yourself.
I thought I could get him. I tried, guys.
But yeah, man, that's crazy how that worked, but it worked out, and it's just crazy how these ideas just come to me, man.
There's a genius within everybody, bro.
Oh yeah,
It depends how we harness it.
for sure. I believe so.
Amen. And yeah, bro, I think that's all I got for you, man.
Hey man, I'm forever grateful, man, and I'm glad to be here. And like I said, man, just inspire the next person. That's what I'm here for. I want to inspire the next person, man. So I'm always grateful for these type of opportunities. Always.
Very blessed, man. I feel very blessed to have had you on the podcast and have
Yeah,
had
man.
the opportunity to tap into your genius.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. Again, man. Thank you for the hospitality. Thank you for,
Bro, I
just
can't
reaching
wait
out.
to see you connect with more people.
Man.
And I plan on I've never said this, I think, but my goal for this is to gather up all the guests that have been on here and put them in a room and just connect with each other. And I can really see you fitting into that environment and just a beautiful synergy of beautiful people, man.
Yeah, man. Just having like good minds around each other, man. Everybody learning from everybody, just bouncing ideas from each other and just listening. Sometimes you don't even have to speak, just listen, And it's just that's super fire.
I
That's
believe
super great.
listening is more important than speaking, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. 100%. Like I say, I'm not a very vocal person. Like I'm not gonna, be the first to be like, oh, like I think this, because that's where like gossip comes. That's where like, jealousy comes, once you start like talking. But if you become a listener, a great listener, and just learning, then
You can take over the world.
yeah, that matters most, man.
Amen. Thank you, bro, for coming.
Thank you
This
for
was,
having me, man. Shout out Tribe Podcast. Thank you for everything, man.
Yo, where can people find you?
Axel Boomin on everything. Apple Music, Spotify, all streaming platforms, Instagram. My handle is at Axel Boomin.
What's your Tinder? What's your MySpace?
What's my Facebook? Nah, I don't have Facebook.
What's your social security number?
151. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Axel Boomin on everything, and that's where they can find me. Twitter and all streaming platforms. If they want to listen to my music, my YouTube, all that stuff, I'm Axel Boomin on everything.
Go stream it. It's actually really good. I'm not BSing, bro. It is good.
Man,
I have listened to it. It's very good. Very good stuff, man.
Thank you so much, man.
When is the new project coming out?
The Christian one I
Yes.
was telling you about? We're actually finishing it right now, so I would assume like maybe by this summer, maybe July, August, it should be out.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, man. So look
Beautiful.
forward to that too, man. It's a great project.
2 major projects coming out this year from Axel Boomin.
Oh yeah, man.
Stay tuned.
We got a lot of things in the works, man. So I'm excited, man.
Sheesh.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it, bro.
Appreciate
All right,
it, man.
man. Thank you,
Thank you
bro.
for having me, man. Shout out Tribe.